Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the United States. With all that's happening this month and throughout the next few years, there is a lot to talk about. And one of the things I wanted to make reference to is the dasha that the United States is in. What is a dasha? It is the Vedic tool for prediction. The dashas are based on the nakshatras. So whatever nakshatra the moon is in, the planet that rules that nakshatra, because all the nakshatras are ruled by planets, that starts the whole cycle of when things are due to happen in your life, and as we're doing this for the outcome of the country. So that is how important the moon is in a chart. It really can depict when everything in a life is meant to happen. So we're going to get into a lot of details of what is going to be happening for the United States. Very detailed work here. So before I continue on, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, please look into my Patreon page. Become part of a spiritual community. I meet weekly with everyone live on my Patreon. As well as, don't forget my Galactic Planner. If you want your transits to your birth chart delivered to your calendar where you can get guidance from the stars, sign up for the Galactic Planner. Go to galacticplanner.com and you can try it out free for a month. See if you like it. As well as, don't forget, I'm going to start my astrology school very soon this summer. I'm going to give the dates. I'll put it on the website as soon as I figure out the best day astrologically to begin. So go to universityofvedicastrology.com. All right, so now I'm moving over so we can get a better look at the chart that I use for the United States. It is quite accurate. And of course, it is the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed, and that is July 4th, 1776. Now, we talk so much about the Pluto Return happening in the United States, and this is the year it is happening. And so Pluto is the planet of major transformations. Remember, it takes approximately around 244 years for for Pluto to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. And therefore, this Pluto has returned. Not very many people make it to this age, but the United States has. But some people don't think you can use dashas. I know you can, because the dasha sequence lasts 120 years for a human being. That's because that's our life expectancy. But this can definitely, and I've seen it work, applied to any chart, the dasha sequence. So that's the next thing. I mean, Pluto return is like everything that the United States was built on, the principles, all of these principles we're returning to. And we're going through a major transformational change in order to have this event occur. You might have heard me talk before in other videos. I believe that we're waking up. We're getting all the truth, the corruption, everything that's been going on is now being revealed. A lot of people may want to deny it, but the facts are out there. So this what leads me into the Pluto return, looking at the dasha, because the dasha that the United States is in right now is actually Rahu Mercury. And this dasha began September 10th of 2023, and it will continue till the end of March 29th of 2026. So we're right here in the middle of this. And look at the chart, look over here to where you see Mercury and Rahu. They are in the 8th house of this chart. What is the 8th house? The 8th house has a lot of meanings. One thing, it is big money. So it's government money. That's the 8th house. The other thing that it is it deals with corruption, deals with deep-seated things, and of the past as well, because the houses 4, 8, and 12 deal with the past. So I think, being in Mercury Rahu, things are being uncovered that are deep and dark about this country. Now here's another thing, that now the time is up when this uncovering and the corruption, and yes, this is going to cause the economy to go down, I think, because let's start talking about the transit of Mars. Mars is a huge trigger. This year, 2024, Mars is going to go retrograde. And whenever a planet goes retrograde, it's 100 times more powerful, especially at the degrees it stations at. And it's going to be stationing around 12 degrees of Cancer. And this will be around the 7th of December of 2024. So this coming December, Mars is going to start slowing down prior to this, a few months prior to this, and you're going to start seeing more Martian behavior, calamity, anger, rage, fighting, split, a huge split, because Mars is going to station retrograde in the 8th house. And it's going to cross over both the Mercury and the Rahu. But it stations around 12 degrees right after the elections, December 7th. So this is where we're going to see so much craziness. Let me just put it this way, an exposing of things going on in the corruption of the United States. And I think this is going to have a major issue around the economy. So looking at some other variables in this chart, Saturn, transiting Saturn currently, as I'm doing this video, is at 25 degrees of Aquarius. And Saturn's going to be in Aquarius till the end of March of 2025. And while it's there, let me just say, Saturn is going to be in a quincunx, the worst aspect, to natal Saturn in the 10th house. Now the 10th house deals with government and leaders. So Saturn in the 8-6 relationship, the quincunx, if you count from 25 degrees of Aquarius all the way around to where natal Saturn sits at 24 degrees of Virgo, it's in a 6-8 relationship, meaning that leadership and government is under extreme duress and problems. Saturn is the planet of karma, and this is things that we can't escape. It's going to happen. Now, when I look also where Rahu and Ketu are currently as I speak, they are, Rahu is in Pisces and Ketu is in Virgo. And they will be in these signs all the way till the end of May of 2025. So Rahu being in the 4th, but Ketu being in the 10th house. What is the 10th house? The head of chief, the social standing, the public, how government. Ketu is loss. Ketu is endings. And with Ketu in the 10th house, there could be some major endings concerning the leadership in the United States. And it could even be something very drastic, such as somebody being taken out. Now let me talk a little bit more about this Mars stationing, because this is where I want to go next. This is really interesting. As I told you, it's going to station in Cancer, and then Mars is going to go retrograde. And it's going to go retrograde back into Gemini. And let me just say this, while Mars is in Gemini, and it's going to be in Gemini twice. First when it's direct and then when it's retrograde. And it's going to be in Gemini, let's see here, from August 26th till October 20th. This is this year, 2024. But then it's going to retrograde back into Gemini, January 20th through April 2nd of 2025. And notice all the planets in Gemini in the United States chart. Mars will be crossing over Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun. Both of those time periods. So I get things are going to get really heated up around August 26th through October 20th, right before the elections. But then again, January 20th through April 2nd of 2025, I think it's going to be worse. Why? Because Mars is going to turn stationary direct. When it stations, either going retrograde or direct, that's when the planet's at its 100% intensity. It's more powerful, the degrees that it stations on. So remember, it's going to be stationing in December in Cancer, in the 8th house of the United States. But by the time Mars retrogrades back into Gemini, and remember, it's going to go back into Gemini January 20th through April 2nd for the second time. It's going to station at 22 degrees of Gemini, February 23rd. It's going to be standing still. Notice any planets, do you notice, at 22 degrees of Gemini in the United States chart? You named it. It's the Sun. The Sun represents the president and leaders. And with Mars being stationed on the Sun in the United States somewhere around February, March, there could be a catastrophe. Mars is violence, Mars is weapons, it's guns, there could be some assassination attempts. It is really scary looking at Mars stationing at that degree. And another thing, what's going to be happening around the end of March, March 29th of 2025 till May 29th of 2025 is going to be where Saturn and Rahu come together. Those 2 months, they will be in the same sign in Pisces. Remember, Saturn moves into Pisces March 29th. And Rahu will leave Pisces and go into a Leo. Mars will leave Pisces and go in, Rahu will leave Pisces and go into Aquarius, May 29th. So we have this window of March 29th of 2025 through May 29th of 2025 that we have both Rahu and Saturn together in Pisces. They will converge together around 2 degrees of Pisces. Now, the thing that concerns me the most about this is the very last time that Mars and Saturn, I'm sorry, I keep saying Mars, but Rahu and Saturn are going to be in Pisces, that were in Pisces the very last time. Remember, Saturn and Rahu can come together about every 12 or 13 years, around that time, give or take, around that time, around 11 to 12 years to 13 sometimes, depending on their retrograde motions. But Saturn and Rahu come together, but the last time they were in the sign, it was a lot longer ago. So they come around every 12 or 13 years and they hit. But the last time they were in Pisces was 1968. And there has been so many references to all the calamity and chaos that's going on in the United States, reminiscent of 1968. But the worst thing of all, in my opinion, that happened in 1968 was 2 major assassinations. I believe it was in March that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated around March or April of 1968. And in June of 1968, Robert Kennedy, who was running for president, was assassinated. So we have this turmoil and these issues that things could redirect like they did before. We've got to be careful. Knowing what we know with astrology, I think we can prevent things. But I don't think we're going to prevent the violence and anger that's going to be splitting America while Mars is retrograding. And Mars is in Cancer, and then it is in Gemini again. I noticed a lot of things going on actually, but the most important things I want to leave you with is Mars as it stations both times, first in December in Cancer, in the 8th house of this chart, and it will be activating both the Dasha ruling planets, which is what I tell all of my students is the most important triggers. So that's around December 7th, but it doesn't have to be just on that day. It can be around that day, weeks or almost, weeks and weeks around that day. Then we have Mars stationed to turn direct at 22 degrees of Gemini around the end of February. So then we have the placements of Rahu and Saturn in Pisces like they were in 1968. So you're going to see within the next year, so many things are going to come down on the United States. And yes, the 8th house deals with the economy and corruption and all the things that have been happening, the inflation. Get ready. We need to prepare for this. This is a very difficult time for the United States. And the United States kind of dictates where everything's going globally. So even if you're not in the US, you're going to get a taste of all of this. It's going to affect the world. The world is going through a dramatic shift in change. And as I always say, it needs to. Because we need to see the truth and everything needs to be exposed so that we can work on it, change it, and heal it. But we've got some heavy times ahead of us, and I'm not even talking about who's going to be in the presidency, because I think we pretty well know. And they are going to blame him for the big fall that's going to happen. And I don't think we can trust the media. Let me just say that. Listen to your gut. You'll know what's happening. But most of all, get balanced, get centered, get into your spirituality, because this is what it's forcing us to do. And that is a good thing. So with that, I think I'll close. So if you would like more information on me, sign up for my free newsletter, Patreon, or my Galactic Planner. Go to galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you want to learn Vedic astrology, become my student. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.